Pain being in our life is non-optional. We can't always dodge pain. Pain is in our physical world, it's all around us, but how we choose to process it is something that can save us a lot of misery. And so when we have something that comes into our life that's painful, it's full of pain, there's a few ways that we can process it. We can process it with our human mind, and our human mind is able to just decipher between why is this happening, and it's able to determine why it's happening based on past experiences, what we've been programmed to let it think, or what we've been told and believe is true. And so our human mind is processing the situation that we are currently going through those three lenses. And those three lenses can be very limiting. And that's how we often are instinctively prone to process. Well, based on past experience, based on how I've been told to process scenarios like this, or based on what I've been told is true, this is why this is happening versus this is happening, or because this is happening, and we kind of just rationalize what's going on. And that gets us into suffering. The state of suffering is when we have pain, inevitable pain that comes into our life, and processing it with our human mind creates a state of suffering. And suffering can linger when we just try to keep reasoning and reasoning and reasoning and reasoning. And until the scenario resolves, and even after the scenario is long gone, we are sometimes still stuck with the cycle of suffering because of the pain that came into our life. And that is very, very difficult. It's stressful. It's full of just time consuming and time emotional exhaustion, time sapping. And so it just is the rut that human nature often gets stuck in. And so pain and suffering do exist in our world. But the suffering only has to linger as long as our human mind processes the scenarios. We can exit the state of suffering faster when we process the pain through our spiritual consciousness. And so our spiritual consciousness is our higher self, our higher mind. It is the mind of Christ within us that is able to elevate our thought and look down at the scenario from a higher place. The divine coming through us and being able to show us what the pain is here for. So when we have a painful thing enter our life, we don't have to just use our rational human mind. We can elevate to our higher self and be able to receive downloads of wisdom and be able to see the enlightenment from the pain that comes into our life. And so pain is here for a reason. It is here to help us elevate to our higher self. And it's often deceived as a thing to cause us harm, but that's just a disguise. It's actually here to cause us benefit. And so when we're able to come at our pain through a different processor, and the processor being our spiritual consciousness, then we are able to expedite the suffering, or even exit the stage of suffering, and be able to see the cause of the pain, or the reason of the pain, and be able to develop a richer form of who we are and let go of the weaker parts of us. And it's just a part of the refinement that comes into our human life. And so, and being able to see it as refinement, and being able to see the pain as an opportunity to elevate ourselves to a better form of who we are capable of being. And so I often thought that it was confusing while the rain would fall on the just and the unjust, or while you would be a super good person and then bad things would happen to you. It just felt unfair. It felt confusing. Like, I thought if we, were a good person we would be spared from pain. And through experience, and some very good wisdom coming into my life through painful circumstances and me digging and finding richer answers than what I had believed, I was able to see that the pain is not here to harm us. It is not here to cause us damage or destruction. It is here to elevate us to our higher self. It is here to elevate us to a freer self. It is here to exfoliate and to chisel away at the parts of us that bind us into our lesser nature. And it's here to clarify and liberate us to be able to become all that we were made to be. So the next time something comes into your life, whether big or little, and it's painful, don't prolong the suffering by trying to stay in your human mind and try to rationalize because this happened, or because they did this, or because this is why this is happening, and I came into the scene and I didn't realize and I wouldn't have. Stop all that and welcome the pain and say, thank you for coming into my life. You are here for my good. And for that, I am going to be digging and looking for the reasons that it might be here. And with that, going to that spiritual consciousness and rising above the scene of your circumstances and looking down and gleaning the wisdom and the refinement opportunities from the pain. And surprisingly, it expedites the process. It eliminates a lot of the suffering that we can lots of times linger in. And it brings us to a purer form of who we were truly made to be.